And welcome to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. Of course, it's Champions League week. That means we're kicking off here with lots of videos, lots of build-up. We are excited for the Champions League. Of course we are. The quarterfinal stage is here. We'll have 4 games this week from the quarterfinal stage. 8 of those teams all striving for a place in Kiev on the 26th of May, where the Champions League final this year will be held from Ukraine. We're going to be previewing 3 of those first leg matches right here in this video, with the likes of Juventus versus Real Madrid, Sevilla versus Bayern Munich, and Liverpool against Manchester City in an all Premier League clash quarter-final game. And of course, the Barca versus Roma preview will have its very own video, and that'll be coming up later today for you guys. But I wanted to bring you this one because I think there's some really good games here. Of course, there's some really good teams, and at this stage of the Champions League, we want to know everything about every team that we could potentially, of course, face in the next round, should we get there. So sit back, relaxed, there is a feast of Champions League football coming your way. Let's have a look into it. We'll start here with Tuesday's matches, and in particular here, a replay of last season's Champions League final, Juventus against Real Madrid, live from Turin on Tuesday night. And this promises for me to be a really closely contested clash between two very strong teams. Juventus, you look at them, they're currently top of Serie A, they're in really good form right now, and Real Madrid right now in good form as well, even though they're third in La Liga, even though they've had a tough season domestically. We are all aware of their Champions League pedigree, and two informed teams up against each other right now. Juve have been really good right now in the league and in the cups as well. They came through the last round, of course, against Tottenham. They come from behind in that one, of course. They drew the first leg, they had 1-0 down at Wembley, and then they came back. Dybala and Higuain scoring to seal a 4-3 aggregate win at Wembley over Tottenham, and that was a really big performance from them. They're back to the top of Serie A, currently ahead of Napoli. They're unbeaten at home in all competitions since October. They have not received a league defeat at home since October, and that came at the hands of Lazio right all those months back. So it's a long time indeed since Juve have lost at home. They have not tasted defeat for a long time, and they've been extremely solid at the back, especially at home. They've got back that sort of energy, that resurgence that they really take pride in defending. That's always been the Juventus way. You've got Chiellini there, you've got Buffon there, Benatia, Barzagli, all players that take pride in getting themselves in the way of shots and defending as a real unit. Juventus, for me, under Allegri, they've got that back. They've got back that spirit among themselves, and they're going to need that against Real Madrid. They've kept 11 clean sheets in their last 13 home games, and they're certainly going to need to keep it tight if they've got any hope of progressing against Real Madrid, because we know Real Madrid are Real Madrid. Yes, they can be leaky at the back. Yes, they can have bad form in the league, but in the Champions League, they will find a way to get the job done. They have huge pedigree in this competition. Back-to-back winners, of course. We don't like to speak about it, but it is the truth. And that's exactly what's happened this season. They have got through their Champions League game. They had a bit of struggles in the group, but they got through that. Second place, they were then had a really difficult draw against PSG. A lot of people thought that maybe PSG could go on and win the competition this year. Will more fool them, because Real Madrid easily, and I mean really easily to be honest, saw off PSG in the last round, winning home and away against the French opposition. And both Real Madrid and Ronaldo, to be honest, have shown a real upturn in form in 2018. At the start of the season, I think Real were really poor. Ronaldo as well couldn't score anything. Everything that he was trying to do wasn't coming off. People were saying, is this the end of Ronaldo? Credit to him, to be fair. We say a lot of things about Ronaldo, but he has got back to his goal scoring best. 17 goals in his last 8 games for Real Madrid, and somebody, of course, tops the goal scoring charts in this season's Champions League. And although, to be honest, people will say, Real faced Juve in last season's final, it was 4-1. It was a demolition job, really. Juventus never really in the game, even though they equalised at 1-1. Real then sort of sauntered away with it. There is actually some good positives here for Juventus when it comes to the head-to-head record between the two clubs in European history. If we go back a long way in the European Cup, Real Madrid have actually been eliminated on every single one of their 2-leg ties against Juventus. 4 times they've met Juve over 2 legs in the European Cup history. They have never ever progressed, and Juve are actually unbeaten at home against Real Madrid in their last 7 meetings, winning 6 of those, drawing the other one, and their last home defeat against Real came back way in 1962. And coincidentally, of course, Real Madrid were last knocked out of the Champions League about 3 years ago. Who were their opponents? it was Juventus. In the semi-final stage, Morata it was, of course, you remember, at the Bernabeu, who knocked Real Madrid out. That, of course, is the 14-15 season. They went on to meet us in the final and lost on that day. But the last time Real went out, it was at the hands of Juve. Can they do that again? If they want to do that, they will have to do it without Mehdi Benatia, without Miralem Pjanic. Both of those two are suspended for this game. They both picked up bookings in the last round against Tottenham, and both of those for me will be a huge miss. Benatia has been really, really good in defence this season for Juventus, seamlessly replacing Bonucci, of course, who went to Milan. Pjanic was really, really good against Tottenham. He's been excellent so far in the Champions League and in the league for Juve. He's a terrific player in midfield, a player for me that wouldn't look out of place in our midfield, and somebody that Juve can't really replace that kind of profile. It's going to be really interesting for me to see whether Juve can cope with those absences. Will they be able to plug those gaps, get through that game at home, and keep the tie alive going into that second leg at the Bernabeu? Or will Real Madrid show their Champions League form and continue their love affair with this competition? And now we move on to Tuesday's other quarter-final between Sevilla and Bayern Munich, live from the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. And this is a very, very historic game for Sevilla. They're set to feature in their first ever Champions League quarter-final match. They did compete in the European Cup quarter-final right back in 1958. But in that tie, they lost 10-2 on aggregate to Real Madrid. So better not really to speak about that coming into this one against a juggernaut that is Bayern Munich. This time around, though, Sevilla reached this stage emphatically after progressing from their last round against Man United, winning at Old Trafford with a really sensational performance in that second half to dump out Jose Mourinho's side. Bayern Munich, however, simply danced through their last round against Besiktas. They were really, really good, winning 5-0 at home. There was a red card in the process there for Besiktas, and they did win 3-1 away from home as well, completing a thumping 8-1 aggregate victory over the Turkish side, who've actually been very, very good this season. So Bayern right now in scary form. Sevilla are scarily inconsistent. That's basically how it's been, and it's going to have to be one heck of a mighty upset from Sevilla to stop Bayern reaching the semi-finals here. But that's the thing with Sevilla, though, isn't it? You look at them and you wouldn't necessarily completely write them off here. I think Bayern, going into this game, massive, massive favourites. But just like we saw at the weekend, you know, against us, like against United as well, Sevilla on their day, they are capable. They do have some excellent players. They can get the best out of them, especially at home with that crowd behind them. They could potentially do something. The problem for Sevilla, though, is their day has not come often enough this season. They've been very poor on many occasions. They've been incredibly inconsistent, and they've actually been very, very wasteful in front of goal. You can look at the weekend. You know, they were so good. They were dominant. They created so many chances, and still they couldn't end up beating us because they didn't take their chances. And to be honest, Montella, their coach, his insistence on starting Muriel every single game instead of Ben Yedder is baffling. Surely Ben Yedder gets the nod in this one. He was brilliant at Old Trafford against Man United, helped them get through to this stage. He's the second top goal scorer in this year's Champions League. Surely he starts this one against Bayern. And then you move on to the small matter that is Bayern Munich. And what can you say really about Bayern that we don't already know? You know, they've got quality right throughout their squad, a wealth of experience, they've got confidence, they're on fire right now, they're in really good form, and we know exactly what Bayern are going to do. They're going to show up, they're going to be ruthless in front of goal, they've got many players who can score goals, can chip in, creativity off the scale, they're efficient, and they're very much capable of winning this Champions League. Just like they are every year, they'll come, they'll be contenders, they've been reinvigorated really since Jupp Heynckes' return to the club in October. In that time since he's returned, they've won 27 of his 30 games in charge, and of course, the man to watch, as he is many of the time, Robert Lewandowski. He's having another great season, one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the world. Suarez would get my nod, but then I am a bit biased in that occasion. He's struck 35 goals in 38 appearances this season for the Bavarians, and Lewandowski will be looking to add to that against a Sevilla defence, which can be breached on Tuesday night. And I've actually tried very hard here to find some light at the end of the tunnel for Sevilla, and this is the best that I've got. They have never ever met Bayern Munich before, but they are unbeaten in their last 11 matches against German opposition at home, and Bayern, meanwhile, have lost all 5 of their last meetings against Spanish opposition away from home. So quite good records for Sevilla against German teams. Bayern away from home against Spanish sides do often struggle, but will those two traits come to an end tomorrow night? We are going to have to wait and see. And finally, guys, we do have the small matter of Wednesday's all-English quarter-final time, which brings us Liverpool against Manchester City in what will be one of, if not the, tie of the round. Champions League nights at Anfield, for me, really are something special. It's a unique stadium. It's a unique atmosphere. Even for the neutral fan, it is going to be absolutely electric on Wednesday in Anfield, and they're going to have to be like the 12th man, and they're going to need them. Liverpool are really going to need them against a Man City side who, much like Bayern really, have just steamrolled their opposition this season. At the top of the league, they're comfortably clear, and Pep's side really are absolutely outstanding. Liverpool, meanwhile, in third place right now. They scraped through on Saturday against Crystal Palace to maintain that place in the league. They're 18 points behind the leaders, Man City, and potentially there's only one man really who Liverpool fans right now are pinning all their dreams on, Mohamed Salah. He has been absolutely sensational during his debut season this season in the Premier League, joining of course from Roma. He has scored 29 times in the league this season. He got one again at the weekend, and he's currently 5 goals ahead of anybody else in the race for the Golden Boot in England, and he's not really surrounded, to be honest, by bad company. Even though of course Liverpool lost Coutinho in January, they're still a force to be reckoned with going forward. They've got the likes of Firmino, they've got Sadio Mane, who are more than capable of chipping in with goals, of assists, creating chances, and defensively though, that is where you'd say Liverpool could be got at. That is where Man City would be looking at things thinking, we can go for Liverpool, we can maybe get at them defensively, and Pep has transitioned Man City into a very, very well-oiled machine. Liverpool this season have conceded more than City, United, Tottenham, Chelsea, Burnley, and Man City have the players to exploit that right across the field. Whether it be Aguero, Gabriel Jesus, maybe Raheem Sterling from the front. In midfield, they've got De Bruyne, David Silva, Sane, Bernardo Silva, and they really are a fantastic team. They play brilliant football, they're fantastic positionally, they defend well, they press in numbers, they really are an excellent side, which once again, you could see Man City for sure challenging for this season's Champions League title. No doubt about that. Nobody wanted to play them. Liverpool are the team that have been tasked with beating them. Whoever wins, of course, will take a massive step closer to the Champions League. And this all-English tie, it does add a bit more spice to it. There's always a bit more of it. When it's two teams from the same nation, there's just a bit more pride on the line. And Liverpool certainly will take heart from their 4-3 win over City. That's the last time they faced them at Anfield. That was back in January. But you don't have to look very far to find positive for City. They're sensational right now. They're on great form, the top of the league. None less, of course, than the 5-0 win they had over Liverpool. They served that up at the Etihad back in September. We don't have long to wait for this one, and it's a real shame that it happens to be on the same night as Barca against Roma, because for me, this one is going to be electric. So that is where we stand with the Champions League quarter-final games so far, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What are your predictions for Juve against Real Madrid, Sevilla against Bayern, and Liverpool against Manchester City? Like I say, I will have that Barca versus Roma preview and the tactical preview coming up for you very soon indeed. I will see you then, guys. Leave your thoughts down below. But until then, as always, Vesca El Barça!